Welcome to a special edition of the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, episode 393, and big helping of Silver Lining. My name's Matthew Turner, alongside Anthony Fitzpatrick, soon to be joined by Ashley Soden, and just coming in the building now as well is Ryan Farden. And how you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right, cheers.
Hello to everybody who has just enjoyed, hopefully, a good weekend and a fantastic championship weekend. We are going to be talking NFC and AFC championship games when we get to the end of the show. As Ryan Farden is in the building. Ryan, I thought you'd go into hiding after yesterday, but you're here.
I always show up, mate. Rather be in our position than anyone else in the country at the moment.
Fair. How you doing? Been a while.
I'm good, boys. How are you? Good to see you too. Good to see you too, Ant.
So, top of the league?
Yeah, I mean, it's going all right in it. There's always hiccups along the way, but hopefully be a kick up the arse that we needed to kind of get this going because, we can't keep relying on set pieces. It's a bit ridiculous.
Well, it's got you here. So
it's not ridiculous if you're winning with it, but but we need to get over the line this year. Otherwise, I'll have to go into hiding.
We are here to talk about the 2025-26 Detroit Lions. We have got some nominees. We've got some winners to go through. But first, we're going to go through a little bit of news, and then we're going to finish up talking about the conference championships and the now Super Bowl that we've got locked in, which I don't think anyone would have had before the season started. So fair play to both teams. They've absolutely smashed it. Discord channel, links to the live chat. Be great to see you there, especially for Super Bowl. If you are in the UK and you fancy a meetup for Super Bowl, I still need to actually book the bloody venue, but we're going to be doing something in Birmingham. I'm also going to try and take it on Airbnb. Could be a really good gig if anyone is at a loose end for the Super Bowl, so give me a shout if anyone wants to do anything. And college football, Shrine Bowl's tomorrow, and your life.
Yeah, it's the busy week on the draft calendar. Shrine Bowl's tomorrow, Senior Bowl's Saturday. They're unusually close to one another. Usually you have a lot more time to prepare for this. But you're going to get your first look at a lot of guys in the pre-draft process. So there's a lot going on. So I'll be doing a breakdown on the roster tomorrow and then going live for the game tomorrow, and then we'll try and do the same for the Senior Bowl. It's a lot of work to do in 1 week, so we'll see. But it's all kicking into gear now. Got to wait 2 weeks for Super Bowl, but then it's just draft, and more draft.
Cannot wait for it, and happy to announce that Poole Air Walker is going to start doing some draft articles for us. So if your head is in draft mode already, do check out our website, rotluk.com. Paul's going to launch his first article in the next day or two. Right, boys, a little bit of news, and I mean, this broke the last time that we spoke, but we had a little bit more time to stew on the decision now. And Ryan, you've not been on for a while, so maybe one for you to kind of weigh in on first, which is the hiring of our new offensive coordinator in Drew Petzing. I mean, he's been responsible for that offense in Arizona for the last few years. Jacoby Brissett looked like a passable quarterback down the stretch. I don't know if you had any thoughts. I mean, it seemed a bit out of left field.
Yeah, I think we all got excited about the idea of other names that were linked to us, and obviously for this hiring, it was a bit of a shock and a bit of it felt like no frills, but. I mean, I know it hasn't been the easiest of jobs down there in Arizona. The quarterback's not been fully fit for a while. Didn't they lose the running back pretty early as well?
Yeah, James Conner went down first couple of games, didn't he?
Yeah, and I'm guessing I'll be honest with you, I haven't even really read into his history that much, but I'm guessing he's been there for a couple of years. So I remember James Conner had a great year not this season, obviously the year before. Yeah. So look, there's things to like just on the surface. I'm sure if you go deeper into it, there's probably more you would like. But, he's hired. We'll all get behind him. He's got a hell of a lot of toys there to play with, especially if we remain fit and obviously get a few O-linemen in. Then, he could really hit the ground running in Detroit.
And you've had a week to think about it. What do you make of it now you've had some time to think on it? Because I think we were all taken aback a little bit at the time.
I mean, we're not really going to know until season starts as to what we're going to get from it. It's still one of those where you trust the organization in making the decision. It's not a flashy name, it's not a big name, and you've now got candidates in-house who are getting on interviews elsewhere, and you're like, could you have had some of them? You don't know, but as I said, there's been some good players individually come out of the Arizona system. They got the best tight end in one of the best tight ends in the league,
Best
and
tight end
was
in the
created
league.
from a rookie.
My
You've
best
got
tight end in the league for
James.
sure.
You've got James Conner who's come out of the system as well. You've got some good offensive players who have been developed there. So, player development's not been an issue. The scheme has been good for the most part. You've had several good years of run offense there. Obviously, we want to run the ball better, bring some different concepts in. Not always had it the easiest to work with there. So again, it wasn't my first choice, and it's not the sixth choice, and I'm still at the point where I'm like, I'm deferring to them rather than being happy about it. But at the end of the day, they know what they're doing. The team has made way more successful staff hires than it has bad ones. The naysayers just focus on the bad staff hires, but we've had a million good ones since they started here. So for the most part, they hit on guys and they get the right guys and they develop the right guys. So, we'll see how he does here. He's got a lot more weapons at his disposal. More of a settled team, a better all-round team as well. So that's not for that Cardinals defense has been shite for years. And it's not exactly easy when you're in that division with three high caliber teams you're playing against and you've not got much to work with. So, the jury's out, but I'm not going to pan him right now. We'll see how he gets on and, see how it works in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And sorry, go on, Ryan.
No, I think didn't they like? I know to start the season, like they like. I think like I could be completely wrong here, but I think I remember their first like 6 or 7 games saying the ones that they lost were literally by one score as well. So they obviously put up enough points to be involved in games and everything. So obviously I do need to take a deeper look at it to be honest with you, but I trust Dan Campbell, as St. Brown gave a bit of stick to Lions fans about saying, don't you trust Dan? I go, well, we do. And even Dan gets the odd one wrong. It didn't happen for Anthony Lynn, in Detroit. But then, it made room for someone else in Ben Johnson. So it's funny how these things work. Sometimes the people that you think are going to be, the superstar for your offense in terms of a coordinator isn't always the guy. And, this obviously Dan Campbell has his identity on how he wants the offense to look, and he believes that this guy has a similar viewing of how to deliver it.
Ant alluded to the fact that other people are interviewing for jobs, and that is alluding to wide receiver coach, former running backs coach Scotty Montgomery has interviewed or is interviewing for the Ravens offensive coordinator job. Otherwise, Jim O'Neill, an assistant coach for the Lions, is returning on a new deal after he interviewed for Jets defensive coordinator. No one wants that job, surely. And then a little bit of new news. Lions quarterback Jared Goff has been named as a Pro Bowl replacement for Super Bowl bound Sam Darnold. As Ash Soden joins the show. Anything you want to weigh in on there, Ash? As you are on mute. There you go.
Oh, there we go. It's kind of good to see Jim returning. I know he's not exactly a big name on our defensive coaching staff, but he's our safeties coach for all intents and purposes of what he's done with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch over the past couple of years since he stuck over there. And then this year with helping Vontae Maddox, Thomas Harper, Daniel Thomas, even Harry Callett when he played his one game and then he played well enough to get snapped up by the Titans. He's kind of an underrated coach on that side of the ball, so getting him back and not having AG still, and yet another one of our coaches, it's quite good. Scotty, I don't know. It's weird that he's been passed over twice now for OC. Obviously, last year we brought in Morton instead of him. This year, bringing in Pet Singh. He's been around the system. He's done offensive coordinator stuff before, and he's evidently demand. I remember when we first signed him as running backs coach. Within a week of us getting him, he was interviewing for the Tampa Bay OC job. So it's not like it's just, he's not good enough in the NFL. Other teams want him for that. So it's a bit weird. And he's our assistant head coach as well. So if we do lose him, suddenly we're going to have to go find someone else to do that because we know how important that role is to this organization. Is how Dan got the job here, being the assistant head coach in New Orleans. And then we've had Deuce Staley be it, then Scotty. I know one of the reasons we lost Anton Randelau to Chicago is because Ben took him in that role. So if we do lose him, suddenly someone who really helped JMO take the next step and someone who's really been helpful to Dan in the day-to-day operations of the team, we might have to replace that.
All right, it is time to go through the awards, the nominees, and the winners. Ash, you've been allocated some, so hopefully you have that all ready to go. Same with you, Ant. We're going to take it in turns. Ryan's going to weigh in on them as we go through as well. And we're going to start with me, because then it means I don't go last. Ash, I did say to Ant before we went live, in fact, I'll put it in Discord. But anyway, to just look out for a message. We're going to start off with the 2 fan votes. So we put a vote out there for 2 different ones that the fans voted on, which was the fans' moment of the year and the fans' player of the year. And we're starting with the moment of the year. And the nominees are Kirby Joseph's stumble bump interception against the Chicago Bears, blowing out Chicago in week 2, gives a 69-yard touchdown versus the Giants in the first play of overtime, beating Dallas and effectively ending their season, scoring on every drive against the Washington Commanders, and Bates' game winner to end the season in week 18 to beat Ben Johnson again. Quite the array of highlights, even in a disappointing season. And the winner is blowing out the Bears in week 2. And, the return of the prodigal son, Ben Johnson, to pastures greener. And, frankly, they got humbled. We beat them 52-21, scored at least 10 in each quarter of that game. Boys, it was as dominant a victory as we've seen by these Lions in some time, and it came against someone that we really, for our own self-esteem, needed to beat in that moment, especially losing week 1 against the Packers.
Yeah, exactly. That last point with the week 1 loss really helped this moment, I think, because the sort of shock and awe of that, of how bad it went for all intents and purposes, just getting that week 2 against a team that knows this inside out since, as you say, Ben's the head coach there, Dennis Allen, their new defensive coordinator, was obviously a head coach in New Orleans and knew Dan very well. It was setting up to be, oh God, we might be 0-2 here. We might have been found out in the division, and for us to bounce back the way we did, especially, with me watching it in the back of my family's car on the M5 coming back from Northampton. Did not get to watch it live with you guys. It was a good moment, and that probably helps sway people's opinion of it. Fans' moments of it, because they have to put with my ugly mug when they're celebrating. They can just enjoy the pure victory.
Ryan, were you there for that game?
Yeah, I was there for that game. Obviously, there was a lot of quite a few people were concerned going into it simply because of how we turned up in Green Bay in week 1, and obviously a few people were worried about the offensive coordinator, who obviously eventually got fired, but he certainly got a lot of it right that day. I remember it, I think, was it like 5 touchdown game for Goff? So I think we put up like just about in around 500 yards of offense as well. So everything seemed to click that day. I remember him getting the ball to St. Brown very early on, going to your playmakers, and obviously it's always lovely to beat the Bears, and it was a great performance, one of the best. I think I voted for the Dallas win simply because I thought the season was technically on the line, but as it was most games towards the end of the season. But this is a deserved winner as well, for sure.
And big win against the Bears.
Oh yeah, my favourite moment of the season by absolute miles. I hate them. I hate everything about them, and absolutely destroying them like that was, definitely my favourite part of this season for sure. I'm glad it won.
All right, next award up, Ash, it's yours.
Obviously, I've got Fans Player of the Year. Our nominees are quarterback Jared Goff, obviously, right tackle and all best tackle in the league, Penny Sewell. Nose tackle, free agent signing, Roy Lopez. Linebacker, Jack Campbell. And the best long snapper in the league, Hogan Hatton. But there can only be one winner, and it is our first team All-Pro middle linebacker, Jack Campbell. 176 tackles, 5 sacks, 9 TFLs, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and defense became his as he became the permanent green dot and took over as the leader in the heart of our Lions defense.
Jack Campbell, boys. I get the feeling, knowing the results, this may not be Jack Campbell's first win of the night, but he has certainly taken that step from year one rookie where I was going, first round, he's doing okay, I guess, to, okay, this could work, to being one of the best in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the main man literally on defense for us last year, you know, so when you needed someone to properly step up, and he definitely did. I mean, it just seemed like he got like about 20 tackles a game. It was just like he was just all over the place for us. So, you know, deserve a winner, and great to see him step up to another level. Obviously, there's probably going to be quite a few changes there in that area of the field. So obviously you feel good with Jack, and obviously we'll look to get him extended, I would have thought, soon. And yeah, deserve a winner without a doubt. Just a go-to guy now for us.
And it's going to be hard to stop Jack in these awards. He had a terrific year.
Yeah. Everybody wants, you know, a great middle linebacker on the team, a captain, a leader on there. There's nothing better than having one of those, and seeing him come to fruition is, yeah, it's wonderful. Year 3, exactly when we thought he might do, and like the ceiling for him is so high now that it's unreal. Like in a few years' time, you know, it's scary to think what he may be. So yeah, I think he's very well deserved there.
All right. Third award of the night, and is yours. We're now into, I should say, the Rural Alliance voted awards after doing the fans vote.
Yeah, so we're into our own now. This is no longer the fans. This is us and our opinion. So the first one we've got up here from me is the game of the year. Obviously, we did a fans one as well, but our 5 nominations for this probably going to be the same. But obviously, the Bears blowout win in week 2, the huge win against the Ravens in week 3, the week 10 scoring every drive against the Commanders, week 14 beating the brakes off the Cowboys, and then week 15, it's not often you have a loss in here, but the game against the Rams, which was backwards and forwards, an offensive masterclass from 2 teams, also made it in here, because just from a football perspective, yeah, it was really good one to watch. And starting as we do, we don't have an out-and-out winner because this one came down to a tie. So we're starting off this year with a tie, and you know, hopefully we'll get some more individual winners later. But the 2 winners for this, the Bears game in week 2 and the Ravens game in week 3, and I think for a variety of different reasons. Obviously, the Bears game in week 2 we've already mentioned. Blowing out Ben Johnson and the Bears, there's no better feeling in the world than that. But then against the Ravens, who were pretty much fully healthy at the time that we went there and played them, and for us to go there and get the victory over them, 7 sacks on the day, like we've traditionally been useless against mobile passers, and you know, we hunted Lamar Jackson down, put a lot of pain on him. It is one of the most impressive road wins we've probably had under Dan. So yeah, 2 very worthy games here, and we couldn't split between them. But yeah, I think both of them in their own rights are worthy winners. One for the revenge, one for the for how big it was for.
You know, I've been predicting the coming of the Bears for years, and it never happened, so I didn't think I'd be right for once this time. Beating the Ravens, who were meant to be a Super Bowl favourite, and doing it because we really just deserved it, was amazing, because, you know, it made a believer out of me, and, you know, what a fool I was for the rest of the season, but, you know, gave me hope.
Yeah, it was at a mate's game, wasn't it? Honestly, it was just like, that was one that you gutted you weren't at it because it just had everything and, such a tough place. I think that I'm not even sure if we've ever won there before. So, and I know I was there a few years ago and I think we only put up 6 points. And as Ant said, like against the mobile quarterback, you just feared that Lamar was just going to have a field day against us. And we managed to put him on his ass a few times and obviously made Henry fumble, I believe, a couple of times as well. The game just had everything for us, and it was really really a special performance, and I agree one of the best on the road that I've seen under Dan Campbell for sure.
Yeah, that piggybacking off of that, yeah, it's the first time we've ever won that, and the second time we've ever beat the Ravens in their history. Obviously, since they came back into being. What a way to do it! Because yeah, going into that game, they was having a few injuries. I know Justin Madubuike, Madubuike actually changed his name, didn't he? Was ruled out with his neck injury and then subsequently put an IR. But the way we went in there, the scheme was perfect. The way we rushed Lamar, the press and contain, and then if he got out, then you went for him. The goal line stand led by Zach Cunningham of all people before you went on IR again. Then the forced fumble by Jack Campbell, the big run by Monty. Just so many moments in that game, and yeah, the fact that we broke our duck against them, we started to break that. I know it then broke a lot more down the season, but there was that stuff going into the game. I think that the only NFC quarterback to ever beat Lamar in Baltimore was Daniel Jones. We broke that record, but at the same time, the sort of catharsis of the week 2 game against the Bears after that bad loss in week 1, getting one over Benedict Johnson and the coming out party of some of the players in that game in terms of scoring, that also was a worthy tire, I think.
All right, we're rattling on through, and next up we have got the Play of the Year. Play of the Year, and the nominees are, in week 1, Tesla's touchdown against the Green Bay Packers. Yes, the game was over, but it was an absolutely circus-style highlight reel catch. Week 2, Kirby interception versus Chicago. That was already in the Moment of Year nominees. It appears again here. Week 3, Jack Campbell's strip of Lamar Jackson. A big moment in that game to turn things in our favour. And then finally, the Week 12 game where Gibbs' overtime touchdown against the Giants makes its second appearance of the night. And the winner is Jahmyr Gibbs with his 69-yard rushing touchdown. The Lions made a pretty crazy comeback in this game. The Giants deserved to win the game. There's no two ways about it. They were 10-0 up at the end of the first quarter. They were up... what was it, 17-7 at the half, maybe? No, 17-14, 20-14, I can't read. 20-17, how do we do that? Anyway, we made it a bit closer. They were up 27-17 in the fourth quarter. We tied up with seconds remaining in the game, and then Gibbs takes it 69 yards straight after the kickoff, and then we hold them out for a crucial victory. We were staring down the barrel of being basically eliminated if we didn't win this game against a team that had only won 2 games to that point, despite being a tough game for pretty much everyone, and they really proved it here. Anyone that was overlooking this team was doing the Giants a disservice. Jackson Dart is a winner and is a gritty player who would fit in here if we didn't already have a quarterback. Boys, it wasn't a pretty game and it didn't give you all the feels, but that Gibbs run, just another example of how good that man can be when we need him to be.
Yeah, special players make special things happen, and he's as special as they get. So he's just truly remarkable player. Just gives you everything, and so crazy because we were so close to that play never happening because of the field goal. I mean, it was the maddest indoor field goal I think I've ever seen, literally, because it looked like it was well out, missed out to the right, I think, and then it somehow swayed back in. So, yeah, thank God it obviously went through, and yeah, Gibbs was just absolutely, just go, just give it to him and watch him go because we weren't at our best that day, that's for sure. It was a bit of an ugly game, but like I say, with the grit is always with this team, and you know, like you say, the best players will always make the best plays usually, and you know, deserving winner of this. It was phenomenal to watch live for sure.
Yeah, again, it was the catharsis fit as well because how back and forth, how sort of bad the game was for a March stretch of the game, and then we come back and again that sort of just emotional let out of the big players winning the game in that way. Especially, we could start. I thought that game was the start of okay, we can see the signs here that maybe we're not where we're going to be supposed to be this year. We're probably going to be battling for a wild card spot rather than division, and that little spark of hope and enjoyment that gave us before. Yeah, obviously then the back and forth losses and what happened, but deserved player winner play of the year. Just a shame I couldn't draw it up on my whiteboard like I usually do because the whiteboard's gone.
And
Yeah, like you say, it's a big play from a big player when we needed it most. That would have been a terrible loss for us if we'd have coughed that one up. And while it's kind of, I know I didn't vote for this one because it's like we should have beaten the Giants, and in its play and the grand scheme of things, maybe not, but yeah, it was just exactly what we needed. We needed a big moment from somebody to put away an opponent we should have done and had, and he came up with it. And it's been part of a wonderful year for him. So of course it's going to live long in the memory. That one will. It's kind of like we see that there's certain runs in Lions history we see all the time. More like Javid Best's one, and that we will see Jameer Gibbs's one like that for many years to come as well. So yeah, it is a decent winner.
all right, Ash, you're next up.
Yeah, we're up to our Walter Payton Man of the Year award, but Royal Lions style. So of course, this is not the best players of the season, but the ones who've given the most to the community. So we've got defensive tackle DJ Reader, who was our Pro Walter and Payton Man of the Year nominee for the team. Jameer Gibbs, Jared Goff, and Jameson Williams.